Welcome back to Art of Floristry. So this class I have another bouquet for you. So as I've said, bouquets are one of my favourites and I think definitely something that the industry will just continue to expand on more and more as we drive for more sustainability. So I'm starting with some ivyberry. So structuring just a small amount of ivyberry that I'm starting with, because I'm going to use this beautiful English box as my main foliage piece. So this piece in particular is just wonderful, and I'm going to get that straight into the centre. It's really, really lovely foliage to work with. The only downside to it is that it can make the water really smelly, so that's why it is really important to have cleaned it very well and taking off any of those leaves down the lower end. Now a shorter piece like this, I'm going to keep towards using at the end to finish off the bouquet. And the reason why I'm using less foliage in this bouquet is because I'm using hydrangea, and hydrangea just take up so much space, which is wonderful, and they're so beautiful. So there's no point using lots of foliage, which can be just as expensive as the flowers, and then covering it up with beautiful hydrangea. So that's why this base is a little more sparse. Now I've also got some beautiful, really lovely lisianthus, and these are gorgeous and long. I'm going to pop them in now, and using some up into the tips. Remove these little guys. Now I have got a mix of heights in the different flowers that I'm using, but we can't sort of go too tall when we're using lots of shorter things unless we do a sheath style, which we will also show you. This is an all-rounded bouquet, not one-sided. Okay, so there I have fairly evenly distributed the white lisianthus throughout, and kept a little aside in case I'd like to add that in later. So the next flower that I'm going to place in are the beautiful hydrangea. Now because they're quite large, I need to get them in fairly early because they're going to take up a lot of space. So their stems are quite a lot shorter than the lisianthus, but I need to make sure that they're going in deep enough to the bouquet so that there's enough stem to go into the water. So we can't have the stems sitting up too high, because once the water level drops in the vase, then they've got nothing to drink. So we still need to put them down fairly deep. Beautiful Queen Anne lace, which is just in this gorgeous colour that is very rarely seen. So it's really beautiful. And again, like the hydrangea, they take up a lot of space within the bouquet also. I'm going to get one to that area there. It's a really large, full bouquet. I'm just going to change the placement on something. So that's the other benefit of bouquets, is that if you don't like where you've placed something, it's not a big issue to take it out and save anything you may drop, like I just did. Not a big issue to take it out and then just replace it. Whereas if you're working into foam, if you take it out and replace it, you've got to find a new piece of foam, because you can't reuse the same hole. Now, if you're working into chicken wire, you can simply just take it out and replace it as well. So I just want to get that white Queen Anne lace right into the centre there, because we've got white, 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 and then we need some white in the centre. Quite a big bouquet can get quite heavy, and so at any point you can just tie it off to give your arm a rest. We have these stunning roses, which will just be so magnificent when they fully open. And knowing that they're going to fully open and that they're quite large when they do, I'm going to ensure that I put them into placements where they have the space around them to fully open, rather than the petals opening up and then just being squished in to other flowers. Now I'm using this smaller piece, which I'd put aside before, to now nestle against that rose stem, so that when I tie it, it's not going to get squashing the stem. So that piece of foliage is just purely protecting it. So again, at this point, this is where a mirror can be helpful to find those last few placements. centre. Now because that's got a slight curve, I'm going to swap that with the one I just placed because that's much straighter and that can go into the centre. So from this view here, I have one obvious area there where I'd like to put something. So I've got this beautiful Lisianthus left. So I'll remove those leaves from. And that will go into there. Okay, so that finishes it off. Now I'll tie it off. So nice and firm. Those big hydrangea heads will be really thirsty, so I'll be wanting to get them into water as quickly as possible. They do like a spray mist as well, so it doesn't hurt to do that. Of late, I've also been giving them a dunk in the water as well, so completely submerging the head of flowers. And that I'm finding is really helpful in making them last longer. So that's the big pink and white bouquet. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks.